DMO Online Television rates this program as TVMA. It is intended to be viewed by mature adult audiences, and may be unsuitable for children under 17 as it might contain strong political themes, gestures, and body actions.
Mbalamusizaako muna gye musinzira okubanga mulaba TM Online Television. Mbeebaza gyonna gye mutuusaako engalo. Yenze Kanka Kapita yenze obutesitesi wa TMO era nga nze ntuusa okubatuusaako ekitundu kyaffe kino ekirala ekya programu yammwe nga nze eyitibwa Political Dose. Ntuddeyo ne mutabani wa Mmole Namatovu Mirundi mu kitundu kyaffe kino ekya COVID. Kale nabagamba bwe mba mbaweereza Political Dose ntambula n'agibinzika omusajja omusomi w'edduwa. Ensi bw'egenze ng'efunda ng'ejjula ebizibu tosobola kubeerawo nga totaddemu saala oba giyite edduwa akulombera edduwa ennungi n'osobola okubanga embeera etambula. Yogerako n'agibinzika ng'okaluubiriddwa ku bizibu eby'enjawulo muli bizinesi Ssaako bino by'amaka ne byonna ebikutabudde musobole okulombera wamu edduwa ate ebeere nga ekwanguyiza. Agibinzika gw'olaba eyo osobola okumufuna ku namba y'essimu eyo n'omuweereza WhatsApp ne mutandikirawo okwogera ne mukwatagana. Nze gwe ntambula naye wano mu Political Dose. Abasinga mwagala okuzimba naye ebiseera ebisinga mwenna abaagala okuzimba ekisinga bakaluubiriza kwe kulowooza ku kutandika. Olowooza nti bw'ona ntandika ojja kulemerwa okuzimba, abazimbi bajja kubba, naddala eky'obubbi ekyo mutya nnyo naddala mu abali ebweru okubbibwa abazimbi. Omusajja ayitibwa Nkooyooyo Elisa Kiwana, musajja mugundivu ava mu famire ya Nkooyooyo. Abasinga mumanyiimu yali Ssaabalabirizi Mpalanyi. Nkooyooyo n'abayimbi mumanyiimu omuyimbi yali ayitibwa Yoyo ne bangi. Nze nno nga Kanka Kanetiemu otumanyiimu omusikawutu ayitibwa Nkooyooyo Elisa Kiwana ye nannyini kampuni eyitibwa Stone Roofing and Construction Company. Stone Roofing ye kampuni okekubira plan n'ekuwa byonna ebyetaagisanga n'ekyozimba tonnakirabako. Ye kampuni erina obusobozi okunoonyereza ku ttaka n'enoonyereza oba ettaka ly'ogenda okuzimbako ttuufu eyo ne service bagirina. Nate era ye kampuni esinga okukekkereza n'okubuulira amazima amatuufu ku nsonga n'ebbeeyi y'ebintu gye bibeera bigula entuufu eyaddala ewatali kubba. Tokyetaagisa kubeera ku sayiti yo, gikwasa abasikawutu. Abasikawutu bano bajja kukukolera omulimu ogusinga gwe gwalirowoozezza omuzimbi wa bulijjo gwasobola okukukolera. Beba Stone Roofing and Construction Company okuva ku pulaani mpaka lwe bakwasa ekizimbe kyo ate basobola n'okusukkawo ne bakikuma n'ejjingira n'egye bujja mu maaso awo tujja bawa saaviisi endala. Kale mutabani wa Mmole Namatovu Mirundi yagguse dda katusaba okuwula ekitundu kyaffe kino ekirala ekya Political Dose.
Tubaaniriza nnyo mutabani wa Mmole Namatovu Mirundi. Muzeeyi COVID atutwala.
This is my strongest message. Yesterday I was in Chengera from 7 p.m. to I think 10 p.m. Okuva ku ssaawa emu ey'olweggulo okutuuka ku ssaawa 4 n'abaza ambulensi 10 nga zirashinga balwadde mulago. 2, I talked to these funeral companies. According to their statistics, we could be burying 300 people per day.
Huh?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. The problem we have is that we made a mistake. The president, as usual, took drastic measures that would help us. Because Museveni is a leader, a revolutionary changes society. A revolutionary is not a businessman. A revolutionary is open, does not consider commercial interests. This is why immediately Museveni detected the danger of COVID-19, he locked us. But at that time, the government had the facilities. All of the facilities the government extended to these people and the trust was violated. This is why today the situation is simpler. The last situation the president handled, we did not have vaccination. What was necessary at that time was not to contract the virus.
It was just preventative.
Yes. Don't catch it. Avoid the areas where you can don't. That was the policy. Today the situation has changed drastically. Why? We have a vaccine. So today we have 4 important issues. You see, for me, I am not a government employee, but I know I have a lot of trust, public trust. I have a lot of following. Imagine, people are buying data to watch or listen to my programs.
Every day.
Every day. I'm the most listened to person without faking data. People listen to me. People trust me. That's why all efforts to silence me failed. Switch him from here, switch him from here. The public came up and the media owners, even those who made mistakes, they thought that after taking the money I would go back. Tomara kulia sent no dam ku benyondo mutwe. Teri instruction yonna ejja kunjoga n'enjibeerako. And I'm about to scrap one. Any owner of a media institution who is infiltrated and believes that I can work on his regulations, I will not go back. I move with my a woman who is fertile cannot die in a marriage.
Yes.
Ikizala tambula nacho.
You humiliate her, she runs away.
Nobody will get money from any source to direct my programs. I will not operate on any regulations of a media institution.
I see.
This warning should go to media owners. The moment you are infiltrated and they try to infringe on my freedom and objectivity, I will be your institution.
I see.
I'm capable of starting my own media institution. So anybody who thinks that can influence my the way I see things using any media institution, they should learn from the past. Many people believe that I could not leave some of these institutions. I left them and I'm still moving. They suffered. What do we need today? The president, as a political leader, has done his part by providing what the leadership should provide. We have a partial lockdown. Museveni has abandoned the idea of government providing masks, even in the schools, because the first initiative was abused by government officials that we are entrusted with fighting COVID. Today, we are remaining with the 3 factors, important factors. One, I think public awareness is already there. People know how you can contract this disease. The president has done his part, has explained ably, like he did it with HIV and other problems. What is now remaining? The medical practitioners, the Ministry of Health, has not done its part. Why do I say so? We all know that COVID has 3 phases. It comes back, and it comes back. They've been telling them that COVID goes through 3 phases. What did we use between the time between the first attack and the second attack or the third attack? Because we had already known
that it will be back.
Yes. What the Europeans have done in the initial stages of COVID, they do not know how it was contracted. This is why the Italian Prime Minister said this is a movie in China until Italians died in thousands. Former USA President Donald Trump, described it as a Chinese disease until his country was devastated. In Brazil, the Ministry of Health contradicted. His president was a populist. And the man is resigned. And as a result, there were many coffins. Brazil has lost many people. So, today we know, in my opinion, we need to do 3 issues. The first priority is for Parliament to amend the Health Act. Because, yes, what Museveni says are directives. And for me, I take them as drugs. I've written my book in different languages explaining that these are not regulations. When you use Museveni as a directive, a directive helps the other, that you must be subdued to satisfy the leader. In this case, it's not true that Museveni is forcing you to do certain things to entrench himself. What he's providing you is knowledge. That's why I say, anybody who says we are implementing Museveni's directives is missing the point. You will get resistance. The opposition may think that whatever comes from the president is intended for politicking. So I will change. I change as a mass communicator, as a person who has a big following. These are not regulations, and we don't need the local defense people with their primitivity and brutality to come back. The situation should remain as it is. Once the people know. Now, what we need to regulate, to put in law what the president has said so far. We did not have political rallies during the elections. We had a scientific election, a scientific campaign, meaning that we did not have political rallies, because political rallies would increase. That's why nobody is talking about the opposition that defied the electoral law. Electoral law was a merger between the Health Act and the then prevailing election law. Bobby Wine and others violated it, and nobody is talking about it. That we are now reaping the failure of the opposition to adhere to rules. I told you that Museveni adhered to the rules in spite of pressure to give out money. Because these people calculated that in absence of public rallies, the narrow buses would not operate. They would not ferry people. All of this was done, paid for by money. When the president was incited, I saw some NRM supporters in Jinja tearing their t-shirts apart that Museveni had failed to give them money. I said Museveni cannot contradict himself. If Museveni totally observed COVID rules, the opposition flouted the rules. The argument at that time was that Museveni did not want rallies because they had no supporters. So we are now reaping the violation
from the disobedience
of the rules by the opposition. But government officials don't have this knowledge that what has happened, what diluted, what undermined Museveni's first efforts was because the opposition violated. And the moment you don't tell these people that the dead bodies we are having now, the sick people we are having now, are as a result of the opposition. The opposition will do it in the future. The public must understand where the rain started hitting us. So, if it was a law, if the election the election law was implemented, Bobby Wine would have been put in prison. The other violators would have been put under prison. We wouldn't be reaping what we are reaping now. So that's why I'm telling you that on addition to the president's drug regulations, prescription of his medicine on how to avoid COVID-19, we must legalize what he says under the law. Parliament should convene we have a parliament, we have an elected speaker, all the MPs have been sworn in.
And we have a cabinet as well. We've been waiting for.
We must review, we must make this, the health, amend the health bill, the health act to protect what the president says. This is the first priority. One, for example, if today a government official is given a bribe to violate a person who violates the president's directive, where is he charged? Is a memorandum of understanding? Is the gentleman's agreement? There should be a law. Anybody who violates these regulations, because what will happen, Museveni's position on how to avoid the COVID will be now backed by law.
But we hear the directives are also work equivalent to a law.
Anti ziri gundi. Ndikakati mbugambi without a law. Kitegeeza bino understanding. President byayogera biri backed by law. Is what Museveni says, does it turn into law? There should be an amendment in the Health Act. That whatever the president says, it should not be the president now talking. It should be the law. And we should have revolutionary judges and revolutionary magistrates, and revolutionary law enforcement officers, this time to avoid the bribing, to enforce the law as it is. Because previously, the president said, since the incubation period of COVID-19 is 14 days, then somebody should be given in an isolation center until he is monitored. It was violated because it was not backed by law. Today, if we must make sure, once we have drugs, that mandatory vaccination, it shouldn't be optional. I was watching television when the president said that yes, Kabuleta says is a right not to avoid. It shouldn't be a right, it shouldn't be a debate between Kabuleta and the president. It should be on now. Anybody who refuses to be vaccinated by a qualified doctor or anybody who has been selected assigned by the government to do the vaccination should not be fined.
But Mzee, I think people are willing to be vaccinated
for 5 years.
But they have lost, the ministry has lost image. No one trusts their drugs.
I'm telling you, that you make sure that what the president has said is backed by law. Let it be backed by law. That's why I'm opposing fines. A fine is intended for money. A fine is intended to collect revenue. A fine is intended to adversely affect the consumption. This is why in economics we have given goods. A given good
is a lack, yes,
its elasticity of demand is not affected by the price.
Yes. So
if people want to move from one area to another, and this is the agitating, they will be willing to pay a fine. So this should be law, and the fine must be punitive. Somebody can say, what if I put 4 people in a private car and I go to Masaka? When each of them has paid $500,000, people have that money. He deducts the fuel consumption and he gets the money.
And he can pay a fine.
So we shall go back to square one. So one, we must have what the president said must be put in the law. It shouldn't be Museveni to every time to come, every after 14 days. And me, I know how human beings behave. Once people see that those who violated the law in Rakai have been sentenced to several years, it will send a message to others. Because the lawyers will come and say that this is the first offender. But the first offender, how many people have you killed? This is murder. So, in my opinion, because I'm not a policymaker, but we must communicate. In my opinion, what the president says, the Health Act must be amended. In America and Europe, people were reluctant to leave their liberties. But after the terrorism attacks, the attack on Twin Towers.
Twin Towers.
Yes.
And World Trade Center.
The Americans have accepted to forego their
democratic liberties.
This is why, immediately after the winter, the youth started what they call the sunbathing in the open that has adversely affected the earlier campaign. If it was low, whether sunbathing, whether winter bathing, or what, the Europeans and Americans, they abide by their laws because they know that they're not done in bad faith, like in Africa.
Yes.
In Africa, an opposition leader like a Kabuleta, but Kabuleta does affect people. They are sponsored there by people who wanted to embarrass the president. And if I was the president, I wouldn't be talking about Kabuleta. Which following does here? What was his performance? Many Ugandans don't to consider Kabuleta very seriously. So they get this endorsement from the president to know that even Museveni knows me. Museveni has recognized me as a rival. Who knows him? Omusajja afukamira ewa pastor nakomba ebigere bye. Is that a successful person who can influence society? He cannot use Kabuleta cannot influence society. These are cropped up by the president himself. Before the president wrote, responded in writing to Bobby Wine, people did not take Bobby Wine seriously until Museveni. This was the mistake. If you undermine, if you say that Bobby Wine cannot be president of Uganda, and you appoint Kusasira, who is lower than Bobby Wine, as an advisor to the president, you are helping Bobby Wine. People will know, abayimbi bakola. So
you're already elevating the status
the president
of the musician.
Even the message, people did not know the message until Museveni responded in writing to messages
missive
complaints. This is when people realized that the message was important. So that's one, amended the law. When you amended the law, it becomes no negotiations. We shall not be negotiating with the people. Two, bring medicine and make it available everywhere. The previous mistake of restricting patients, COVID patients, to government hospitals has backfired. Because initially, these people wanted the government hospitals to get money. But people have trust in private hospitals and missionary hospitals. So we cannot repeat the same mistake. We cannot go back at total lockdown. We must emphasize SPOs in working places. Two, we must ensure that the movement of people is protected under the law. Who violates it must be severely punished. Three, make the drugs available and make mandatory vaccination. Failure to accept to be vaccinated becomes a crime because we are a danger to others. In fact, under the COVID, under the Health Act, spitting in public is punishable because spitting, what you are, if you have akafuba and you spit everywhere, spitting under the law, the Health Act, is chargeable. So if just spitting is chargeable, what about a person who violates this interdistrict transport? But the moment you delay it, people wait, but they cannot wait patiently. Imagine if your wife is taken into a labor ward for delivery and wait for 2 hours, you storm the room.
Of course.
You will storm the theater. What is happening? In one incident, the cardinals spent a lot of time in the enclave. The excited, anxious laity, the Catholics, stormed the enclave, pushed out. That's why in these days, in the old days, you would see dark smoke.
And
then
white
you know
smoke.
that the Pope is not yet elected. These days, they don't spend more time because how can a Catholic church, an entire Catholic church, remains without a leader? Even when you marry your wife, and within a year, there are no signs of conceiving. This will cause excitement in your parents. So, if we don't provide immediate compulsory vaccination, compulsory vaccination means that the people will know that even those who have received the second dose, because there are people who have already taken the first dose. So the people with the first dose, the second, who are having it, would be allowed to move freely because they are protected unless they can acquire it again. What was the intention of for them? The pioneers agreed to be vaccinated, and now they are being treated in the same way as those who are reluctant to be vaccinated. These are things we must look at to encourage others, so that somebody knows that why are these people moving? They are vaccinated. Now the question will come: are these valid papers of vaccination? We should look at other countries. What other countries are doing? In Rwanda, once you see that you have come vaccinated, they take a test on your blood, remain in isolation for 6 hours, and then the results come out, whether you were vaccinated or not. Because for them, a poor country must make sure that its resources are protected. Somebody has told me that where this Indian Ocean country, we used to know it because handed over Sicily. That in Sicily everybody has been vaccinated, and you remain in isolation if you go there with the fake. Because I know Africans, I used to travel, but in many cases you are required to go with a yellow fever vaccination. Many Ugandans will tell you, they only pick, they pay doctors not to vaccinate them
and give them the book.
So these are areas we should avoid. That we should convince the people that vaccination is no interest. Two, we have an elaborate structure in the village. Villagers can spy on other people. That man has not been seen at the vaccination line. Yes.
He's lying.
If it becomes a crime and somebody avoids vaccination and is reported by his wife or relatives, this is what Museveni used to disarm the Kalamajongo. Cordon and such depended on the information provided by women. The women wanted Kalamajongo to be disarmed. Why? They used to remain widows. Many younger married, many widows in Kalamoja are young. So the women supported Museveni by reporting security, by reporting the presence of guns. Hidden guns were reported by the women in order to protect their husbands, because they know if you want to marry a second wife, you can't raid somebody's kiral and you take a gun. So if it becomes a law, even a reward can be given. Anybody who gives us information that somebody did not accept vaccination, don't make it attractive to make it commercial. Because if you make it commercial, you can connive. Gendo mpavile, bakweye mitwala 5 tujigabani. Techiba kinene.
Ati wayinza okubaawo fine nga ate fine ate yo nene bwe bampabira.
Kakati ekyo kasamalo kima.
Ngiringa ya bukadde bubiri.
Vaccination means that you have available drugs. As we are talking today, there are not available drugs. So the vaccination is for those who have not yet turned into patients who passed tense. The dead ones, we cannot help them. I always tell people that if you were crippled by polio, even if they bring a drug for polio, for you have already been affected. If you die of malaria and an expert a drug for malaria is injected into a corpus, the corpus does not recover. You cannot resuscitate a corpus, resurrect a corpus, because the disease, you have now found a disease. So those who have died, we have nothing to do for them. Maybe in the future, the widows of COVID and the relatives of COVID victims. That's not
for now.
What is for now? Those who have not got it, the vaccination. Vaccination means the vaccinators, the drug to be used, and the people to ensure that everybody is vaccinated. This is done by law, because they are stubborn people, and convincing the persuasion, knowledge that it is being done in your interest.
In good faith.
Then we move on. What about those in hospitals? What are we going to do for them? It is interesting in Uganda. In Uganda, there are many amazing things. We have all of the hospitals lack oxygen, but we have a company that manufactures oxygen in Uganda, Oxygas. As the government looks into the possibility of giving money to this company, Oxygas is around, is owned by a Ugandan, but instead, money is being spent to buy oxygen
from abroad when there is a local company.
What does this man want? A Minister of Health? Have you ever seen the Minister of Health visiting Oxygas? Have you ever seen a Prime Minister visiting Oxygas? I think even the President might not be aware that there is a company that produces gas in oxygen in Uganda. They prefer to buy.
From where?
Like the mistake they did. When they say that all of the food supply must be tested by the Uganda Bureau of Standards. Was Uganda Bureau of Standards given new equipment? No. What we are trying to do, all of because they are monopolists. The mafias lack business acumen. They want monopoly. Yes. But if you buy in a supermarket, in such a supermarket, that one is tested. That's why they are trying to do with the maize. That the maize is they even tried to do it in a vivanda. That Ebyemotoka. Mbo tsunami we yakuba Japan, some nuclear plants were affected. No, the safe cars must be because everything the mafias see. But Biramu Kakati, Oxygas. Weary. What does the Oxygas mean? What does it need to produce enough oxygen? Because it is a company in Uganda. If the minister or the new prime minister, who is grassroots, visits Oxygas, he will know. But they will use their media to sabotage this man. You will see negative stories in the red paper that he just imports. So that the thieves take the market. This is where I fight the mafias. Oxygas is here. It's also amazing that the factory that produces alleviating drugs for HIV is quality chemicals found in Uganda. All of the presidents that have visited Uganda, the president has always taken them to as a minister of health ever visited, as Diana as permanent secretary ever visited that factory that is in Uganda?
I don't know.
I can bet she has never gone there. Their interest is to fight for foreign companies. In fact, if you ask Diana, or you ask or you change your mood, I know the most destructive woman in Uganda is worse than Satan. Oyo omukazi oyo alowooza okulya ssente obuli yali alinyeko mu quality chemicals, because if you go to chemicals there would be a group photo. Yali alinyeyo Diana yali alinyeyo mu quality chemicals.
Simanyi.
What would you do if the Pope appoints his new representative to Uganda? The first thing he would do is to visit Rubaga Cathedral,
of course,
the headquarters of the Catholic Church. If I'm appointed the Minister of Health, I would even inspect all of the factories that are related to health. I told you that there is a factory in Matuga, which is going to produce drugs for American market. Apart from the president, you're telling me a high-profile government official who has visited this matter. If you ask the minister, if you ask a change, this man who developed this coronavirus, this man, a black American, produced this formula in Uganda with Magola. They wrote letters that this man was available in Uganda. All the letters he wrote to drug authority Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Science and Innovation, there was no response. The man who developed, I came up and defended them, as I usually do. Now, Conaville was they even dismissed Kadaga. What is Kadaga talking about? It was Kadaga who took this man, the black professor, who is consulted by Congress in America, who is consulted by a number of international agencies, is an expert on the virus, apart from meeting Museveni. Who else in the government? Even the Prime Minister did not have time to meet him. Even the Vice President did not have time a day, not have time to meet it. But if it was a Chinese delegation, everybody would be rushing to meet the Chinese because they are corrupt. Yes. If today you have a Chinese delegation, everybody will be rushing to receive them at Entebbe airport. So this is where the problem is. So my submission is that we must look at 3 categories. One, those who have not acquired the disease, contracted the disease, those should be subjected to mandatory. And it's not, in order not to be negotiable, this must be backed.
We must come up with a law.
The Health Act. Anybody who refuses to be vaccinated is committing an offense. I gave somebody an example. I said that you see in Kenya, like in Uganda, the touts, abo abagundi, abo
abayimba taxi,
bakwatakwata abakazi obubira ne bakola ki. Even in nani, kati in one incident in Kenya, abo batauts bazanyira ku muwala omwana wa minister kozi nga ina escort. They were arrested, taken before court, arraigned before court, and there was no fine for such a case because it was enacted, decreed during colonial time to protect the white women against molestation by blacks. Baba sibe myaka 2 mu eki. Kenya tikyali ategatika mukazi. An African once subjected to the law, and they know that the law will bite.
They will listen.
The judge will not be bribed. Government intervention, high profile intervention will not apply. You will save everybody going for vaccination. Within a month,
you have
and
vaccinated
make sure
all.
that they have proper documents. We can even look at the chikato, the scar. Up to today, those of us who are vaccinated, when we were young,
still have a scar.
The chikato is still there. The chikato can tell you, you can examine somebody. If somebody does not want to be vaccinated, can he allow a needle to be inserted into his body or body? We must rule out commercialism. We must forget about Nzige. We must sleep over Nzige. We must sleep over Gondi. But finally, I have deliberately played that tape. Why? I told you I exposed the scandal involving organ extraction and export and exporting human beings. There has been a case, I've been saying, there is a case in Zirina where 32 people were people giving evidence to the International Criminal Court via a Zoom. Now, they were given, their lawyers took $30 million. The good news I have is that the jury has been dismantled, their lawyers have been dismantled, and the number has moved from 30 to 150. 62 of your surgeons under parole. And this time, they are saying they should not give evidence in Uganda, they should do Okutemba, Ennyo. They should go and give evidence in Hague. When I started this thing, that man, Kireimu, he saw to that I had bagged his house, and you hear what he was saying, talking about me. I'm not a bad man. No. I knew that the business was very attractive. You can get $1 million from a human being. The police has been bribed. It is done in government hospitals. I told you that all our hospitals have been tendered by funeral companies. How can you tend a mortuary? Because if you tend a mortuary, it becomes
to a businessman.
You are becoming a businessman. Can this man talk to a doctor, surgeon, that this week we have experienced a bad week? Food day. Can't they connive and kill innocent people? The Ministry of Health is silent. All leaders are silent. The medical association is silent. Okay, if now the domestic response is poor, let us have an international ourselves to the foreigners. Maybe these people, that's why imperialist capture countries, if the government they cannot respond, that if this madman is talking about allegations that human organs are being sold, extracted illegally, and also a court are not punished, let the international community move in. That's why they are panicking. So I have deliberately played that recording to show you that I started this thing, I started struggling with these people a long time ago. They are now blaming me. But how could they believe that they could go away with it if a Pakistani was arrested? The person who is now in custody gives the information to everybody. What if the international community involves itself into a deal with already a person in the prison? You reveal everybody you have network in Uganda. The man, does this man who is in the prison, will he work with the international agency or will protect his suppliers? Of
course, he has to work with the other people.
Yes, because his suppliers in Uganda are no longer important. Maybe they are supplying it to somebody else. If these people have come up with a better deal, reveal all your network in Uganda. Two Chinese are in prison. This Pakistani was fighting because my wife was targeted. He is in custody in Karachi, sentenced to 7 years and fined $4 million. So why are these people implicating me? Mbozena wandi se barua bagakwati. That's rubbish.
All options on the table. But this man is only disturbing me. What does he expect me to do? Everybody has distanced myself. Everybody has distanced themselves from me just because of one man. Who does he think he is? Keep on complaining. I know. If you have put bags everywhere, even inside my house and everywhere, everything I do, I know you must be listening to me, Mr. Tamale. Leave me alone. I also do like any other human being. I'm not killing, I'm not stealing, I'm not doing what. I'm only trying to survive. My kids are here playing. They also want to be. They also want good school. We also need a future. I also went for my education, and also I sponsored myself. I'm not like you who was even helped by the president to finish your degrees and all that. Me, I am struggling on my own. I made myself. I studied law. I did a lot of things. I have so many degrees. But again, if you decide to stop me from doing anything, what do you expect me to do? What do you expect me to do? You think we are always supposed to survive on state handouts? No. You are doing your job. I'm also doing my job. Why of all Ugandans, 40 million people, you are just running after me? Did I take your wife? Have I ever been with your wife? Nali nkututeko omukazi sebo mwami Tamale. Mbulira. If I took your wife, then I can compensate if that is the problem. Nayo ndibubi, all the time you are running after me, everything I do, and you're putting everything in public. I know you know me, just like I know you. But put a break. Give me a break. Break the speed. Why all that momentum on me? Every step I take, you have decimated my whole hope entirely. You have just brought me down completely. What do you expect me to do? I know you're listening to me. I know you're listening to me. It is a monologue, but I know you're going to get this information. And I don't care if you also publish it. You are too much. Fete tulina kitulina kwekolera. Everything is you. Everything is you because you have a platform, because you have the president's support. Yes, we are also supported by the president also. I'm also NRM like you. But putting on that yellow beret does not make you much more special than I. Naffe tubeerawo, naffe twagala kubeerawo, naffe twagala kukola mirimu gyaffe gitambule, naffe twagala abaana baffe basanyuke, ng'ababo bwe basanyuka, twagala mukyala wange asanyuke, ng'ogwo bw'asanyuka. That is all. But you cannot make it a point to run after me everywhere I go, everything I do. You're just running after me, Mr. Tamari. If I can say I'm sorry if I wronged you anywhere, please just accept my apology and we take it from there. I kindly say I'm sorry if I wronged you anywhere, but please leave me alone, give me a break. I also move on like any other person. Naye kiyitirira n'obeera bubi ngezezaako kati buli omu antegedde, even where I work everything is coming to an end, and where am I going? Why do you want to throw me to the dogs when what angers you was that we are also thrown to the dogs? Now from here, where do I go? Have I touched your relative, your child? Yes, I'm sorry you lost your child, but it wasn't me. It is unfortunate. Many people lose their children. I also once lost someone. I've lost loved ones also. But please, Mr. Tamale Mirundi, I beg you, I'm sorry if I wronged you anyhow, anywhere, somewhere. I'm very sorry, but please, give me a break. I also survive like any other human being. Rather than torturing me, hitting me up and down, destroying me left and right. I need to educate my children. We have not done enough. We are also struggling. If at your age, you're clocking 60, you are also struggling to survive. How about us? Our political careers are under demise because of you. Our career as a professional lawyer, everything is under destruction just because of you. Please, kindly, just give me a break, sir. I also need to be. I hope you get this. Otherwise, it is becoming too much. Too much. What did I do? What did I take away from you such that I can pay? Otherwise, it is becoming really too much. Mr. Tamare, you know that. Why on earth would you run after me? Why not somebody else? What did I do? To be more specific, kindly, you know my telephone number. You can call me. You can always call me. But why should we die young when we have a chance to live? Why should we die paupers when we have made big names, but now we are nowhere to be seen? If you are now working for the opposition, but I doubt, because I know even this technology you are using, it must have been given to you by the president. But now you are on us. You have abandoned everyone, particularly your enemies, but being a friend to your enemy, I've become the top enemy of yours, that you are always disturbing me. Really, what am I to you? What have I taken away from you? I'm very sorry. I'm going to put everything in God's hands. I'm going to meet some fellas, whoever's been working, or maybe the projects you say you don't want, you are going to fight to your teeth. Okay. I will disband everything. But I'll always come to you if you have a job. Possibly you give me a job. You will employ me if that is what you prefer. Otherwise, I have no option whatsoever. Mr. Mirundi, Mr. Tamari Mirundi, just give me a break. Just give me a break. I apologize if I wronged you anywhere. There's nothing I can offer to you. I cannot come and kneel down before you because the sight of me will mean hell. So I'm just giving up and I'm gone. Please, whatever the bags you put to surveil me, just disband them. I'm no longer interested in anything. Just give me a break. I gotta do other things. Thank you very much. I hope you have heard this. I know you are recording it. I know you are getting it, whichever means you use. But I know message is delivered. Just give me a break and allow me be. Thank you very much.